Hi friends, welcome to the third part of the Baby Scrapbook Album series. If you haven't watched the first two parts of this series, I request you to watch those videos first. Links are provided in the description box. In this video, we'll be making the album cover and the hinge. So let's get started. We'll be using the hinge binding system for our album. So let's begin with making the hinge. For that, take a cardstock piece in the size 12 by 6 inches, leaving 1 3/4 margins on both the sides, score at every half inch. Observe how I am folding along the scored lines. Just like we make the fan folds, keep folding alternatively on the inner and the outer sides. And here our first hinge is ready. In all, 6 hinges will be formed. There's an half-inch gap between each hinge, which is called the gusset. Now let's understand how we are going to stick our tacky tape over this hinge. Let's look at the reverse side of the hinge first. Letter T indicates tape and letter B indicates blank. So I'll stick the tape wherever I'm writing T and will leave the space blank wherever it's B. So beginning from the first column, write T and then B. Then write T, T, B till you reach the last column. Make sure you write the correct sequence of all the T's and the B's as I showed you, else you won't be able to construct your hinge. Now stick the tacky tape on all the T's. Now let's come to the front side of the hinge. Draw a horizontal line on the first 2 columns and write 1. Leave the next column blank, as this column will form the gusset. Take the next 2 columns and write 2 under the horizontal line. Leave the next column after that blank. Continue doing this till you reach 6. Now begin sticking tape on the columns with numbers. Going back to the reverse side, we also need to stick tape on the margins that we had left on either sides. So now let's stick tapes on these margins. Now remove the tape's backing of the first T and stick this column over column B next to it. This forms the first hinge. After that, begin removing the tape's backing of every column T that is followed by column B and stick the 2. This way your hinge construction can never go wrong. And finally, our hinge is ready. Press your hinges on the left side and the right side and burnish them well. This conditions the hinge to move easily when the pages are attached. Also remember to cut the hinge at an angle at both the ends. This helps the pages to easily slide down when attaching them to the hinges. To create the album cover, we'll first need 2 cardstock sheets. For that, I have stuck the tacky tape on one end of the cardstock. Let's stick the second cardstock over it. Next, we'll be taking 3 pieces of black chipboard. The center piece will form the spine of the album, while the 2 chipboards on either side will form the front and the back covers of the album. I have left 1.5 inch cardstock margins around my chipboard pieces. Now let's begin sticking tapes around the chipboard edges. We'll begin sticking our chipboard pieces on a cardstock. Begin by placing the spine chipboard piece on the join of the cardstock. Leave a small gap between the spine chipboard and then stick the side pieces. This way your cover won't be too tight and will prevent the cardstock from tearing when you fold the cover. While sticking the cover chipboards, make sure to fold the cardstock at the joints to condition the cardstock. Stick tape around the edges of the chipboard and the cardstock. Burnish the tape well. Cut at an angle around the 4 corners of the cover, leaving slight space from the chipboard. Next, remove the backing of the tapes and stick the cardstock over the chipboard. Using the bone folder, press the corners to get clean folds. Bend the front and the back cover to condition the cardstock to fold at the joints. Now let's stick the hinge binding. Remove the backing of the first 2 tapes and stick the hinge on the spine. Make sure that you align the hinge correctly in the center of the spine. Now remove the backing of the remaining tapes and stick the hinge on the spine. Using the bone folder, score along the crease line. Now stick the loose ends of the hinge. This is how the attached hinge looks. I have already adhered the polka dotted felt fabric on the spine using the red tacky tape. For that, you just need to stick the red tacky tape on the spine of the album and then stick the felt fabric over it. Let's make a ribbon closure for the album. For that, I have stuck the red tacky tape up to 1 inch away from the cover edge. Let's remove the backing of the tapes and stick our ribbons. Now let's stick our pattern papers on the cover, both inside and outside. Now let's attach our pages to the hinge. I always like to begin from the last page. First, let's remove the tape backing on the hinge. Open out your page and place it over the hinge. Make sure you open the page wide enough for it to touch the spine. Once you are sure about the placement, press the page from both the sides of the hinge to attach it. Burnish your page well and flip the page on both the sides to condition it for easy movement. Repeat this procedure for all the pages. That's how we attach our pages. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll see you in the part 4 video, which is the last video of this tutorial series. In that video, we'll learn how to embellish our album. So make sure that you don't miss it. Bye for now.